Visit CCGCastle.com and get 5% discount on your purchase with TCG Center 5 code. Check video description or visit CCG Castle for more. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. Today's video we'll be looking at a new deck for the Primal Clash Shown, and today we have a Fossil Friends deck profile. So basically, Aerodactyl is restored Pokemon. It can be put on the bench with Old Amber Aerodactyl card. And the most interesting thing, it can also be used with Restoring Beam ability from the Omastar, which actually says once during your turn you might search your deck for a restored Pokemon and put it into your bench. That's pretty much it. So those fossils are pretty strong because a double covers energy you can jet draft for 120 and discard special energy attached to your opponent active Pokemon, which is definitely strong, especially against those Mega Evolution decks who actually depend on those special energy cards. But it's also strong against Giratinas and any other decks that will actually have those special energies. For example, Omastar Break also have that dangerous Taintacle ability, which will actually allow you to, once during your turn, before you actually attack, switch one of your opponent benched Pokemon EXs with his or her active Pokemon, so you can easily snipe those Shins for 120 without any problem. The most interesting thing is that Aerodactyl shouldn't be affected with that Glaceon ability because effect of the attack, because it's restored and it's not evolution type, so the same as the basic, and the restored Pokemon shouldn't be effective with a Glaceon. Also, I decided to include only one basic Pokemon in this build, which is actually a Klefki, just because Klefki can actually buy a turn us against Mega Evolutions, so basically we can easily prevent the damage with the Aerodactyl, but Klefki can easily be put back with the Super Rod, so we can repeatedly use it, same as the Puzzle of Time. But the most interesting thing is that I'm running 4 copies of Talonflame because I just want to start with the Gale of Wings and Aero Blitz for 40, so I can set up turn 2 my Archie's Ace in the hole and basically easily grab my Omastar and put it onto my bench. So this is the main focus. I tweaked a little bit this deck with like 15-20 matches, and to be honest, I will show you the score right here. As you can see, overall played with this build 9 games, overall win 8, and trust me, I played against Greninja Break, I played against another Trevenant, Tyranitar EX Mega, I played against Mega Sceptile and a lot of other decks, and also against Dark Ray Giratina, and I easily beat all of these decks. So I can't remember against which deck I lost, because I also tweaked a little bit deck, but trust me, it works just perfectly. So some other cards, as you can see that I'm running, I decided for the Stadium card, for example, to run one Faded Town, because the current meta is definitely going to be around those Mega Evolutions. So as we can have Faded Town for like 2 or 3 turns in play, and if our opponent will have some Megas in play, he will definitely take those 2 damage counters between each turn, which will be definitely good. Just because we can easily set up the knockout with that jet draft. But also Parallel City is a very good card because it can help us to pretty much cut down our opponent to 3 cards, especially against those Mega Rayquazas. And since we're running also 4 copies of Puzzle of Time, we can easily grab those stadiums, depend on which one we need, and put them back into our hand. In my opinion, it's very, very good. I also decided to run 2 copies of Fossil Excavator because sometimes you might not be able to draw perfectly, and sometimes you just need those Old Amber Aerodactyls to set up your Aerodactyls on the bench. Trust me, you need to have those Old Ambers, even if you run those Omastars, because with Old Amber you can just easily find with the top 7 cards Aerodactyl, put it onto your bench, use it often with those Fossil Excavator kits, and pretty much set up. Omastar is here just pretty much for those Omastar breaks. Ability to Lysandre or something on your opponent bench, but also later with that Restoring Beam can help you much easier to get another Aerodactyl on your bench. So I'm also running 4 copies of Puzzle of Time, mentioned it earlier, so I can just easily grab any 2 cards from my discard pile if I play 2 copies at the same time. 1 Special Charge, just to put back those special double covers energies into your deck. Pretty much rational explanation. Same as 1 copy of Super Rod, 1 copy of Town Map, so I can see what I'm going to draw from my prize cards. 4 copies of Trainer's Mail, it's pretty what you need to have. You can actually try to cut maybe 1 Trainer's Mail for maybe an extra 1 Ultra Ball. So you can have 3 copies of Ultra Ball, but in my opinion, having 2 copies of Ultra Ball is pretty good because we cannot use Ultra Ball for pretty much nothing. We just want to use Ultra Ball to discard our hand and pretty much play that Archie. That's the reason why actually I'm running those 4 copies of Ultra Ball. And I totally skipped a maintenance. Also 4 copies of it. This card is very good card. I mean, you can shuffle any 2 cards from your hand into your deck, and then you can draw 1 card. It can definitely help you to thin your hand, so you can just easily play that Archie. But also, sometime before you actually decide to use Sycamore, you can just save 2 of your cards with shuffling them back into your deck, and basically by drawing 1 extra card. 4 copies of V-Seeker, of course. I'm running also 2 copies of Archie, just in case one is priced. I really need to have another one, because without Archie I'm not going to be able to set up my Omastar on the bench. 1 Hex Maniac against those Greninja Break decks, it really helps a lot. 1 copy of Lysandre, 2 copies of N, 4 copies of Sycamore, that's pretty much for the draw support. As I mentioned it, 1 Faded Town and Parallel City for the stadium. 1 copy of Float Stone, only 1 copy of Float Stone, which can help me to retreat my Omastar break just in case I stuck in the active position. But also, Omastar had 2 retreat costs, so with 1 single double colors energy, I can pay the retreat cost and pretty much retreat onto my bench. Now, it's pretty good because it has 120 with break, 140 HP, and for example, some popular EX decks like a Greninja Break will not be able to knock them out, Mega Sceptiles will not be able to knock them out with a single shot, and stuff like that. Okay, Mega Sceptile would be because it had weakness, but for example, Giratina will not be able to one-hit knockout. And that's very important. Also running 4 copies of double colors energies, and I decide to roll with 3 copies of single basic water energy. You really need to have those single energies, because if you start with your Talonflame, you just want to have the turn 1 Aero Blitz for 40 and also search your deck for any 2 cards so you can expand your hand and bench for later. But also with water energies, in case we run out of those Aerodactyls, we can still use that spinning attack for 60, which is always good. As usual, if you're looking for any of these cards, you can find them on CCGCastle.com. You can find the link in my video description. By typing TCG Center 5 code, you should also get 5% discount on your purchase. So if you're new to the channel, you should definitely check that. And also don't forget to like me on the Facebook. It will definitely help me a lot. So let's do some game tests so you can actually see how this deck works in the game. So see you there. Alright guys, so let's do this. This is probably gonna be sort of Greninja Break on the other side, but I cannot still confirm that. I can just assume. So also see that Enhanced Hammer gonna be very devastating. So let's try to find a way to get that Talonflame in the opening hand. Alright, so this hand looks very nice, to be honest. There is a Trainer's Mail, Fossil Excavation Kit. I also have that Ultra Ball, which means that I can Ultra Ball from my Omastar and discard with my Sycamore, so opening a hand might be that very good. So let's go with the energy attachment, Trainer's Mail, for pretty much nothing of these cards. Looking forward to play my Old Amber, unfortunately for nothing, and this is going to be Ultra Ball, for unfortunately Fossil Excavation Kit and double colors energy. So I can grab my Omastar right here and pretty much go with my Sycamore for the 7. I know I can wait a turn, try to use my Aero Blitz and stuff like that, but I'm just thinking that it might be much better if I just rush with my Sycamore for 7. So for the next turn, I can try to prepare my Archie so I can actually get my Omastar on the bench. And with my Omastar on the bench, I can just easily... Alright, so there we go with the Archie right here. I can basically easily grab anything that I really need. So this is going to be Ultra Ball, and I'm more than happy with this hand, to be honest. So right now I have 5 cards sitting in my hand, which means that next turn I can pretty much maintenance for one of my cards, and then I can Ultra Ball and pretty much use my Archie for the Omastar in my discard pile and also get 5 cards, which is definitely going to be very explosive turn right here. So there is 2 Fighting Fear Belts, 1 Water Energy attached on that Regice, and probably this is going to be just a turn pass, maybe a few more Max Elixirs Energy Switch, but who knows. Just need to wait and see what else my opponent is capable to do on the other side. Alright, so definitely nothing, so this means that it's my turn, and I'm going to maintenance for one of my Aerodactyls and for one of my another maintenance, And there is N, which means that I can Ultra Ball for my Faded Town and N. And of course, I'm looking forward to grab that Klefki that I have in my deck, because I really don't need Klefki in this matchup, so I just want to discard Klefki so I can have one card less in my deck. And as you can see, Archie's ace in the hole, turn 2 without any problems for that Omastar, which is very big play right here, because I can get 5 new cards, I can pretty much use my Restoration Beam, I can put one more Aerodactyl down to my bench, and I can still use my Aero Blitz. But the most important thing, I'm going to use 2 of my copies of Puzzle of Time at the same time, so I can grab something like Fossil Excavation Kit and that double Chorus energy, which is very important. There we go. So I'm going to attach one of my DCs. Of course, I should put my Wonder Rock lock onto my Talonflame just to get rid of that Klefki. This is going to be a Fossil Excavation Kit for 2 more Old Ambers, which means that with 2 more Old Ambers, I can just easily try to search my deck for another Aerodactyl, put it down to my bench. I already used my Restoration Beam, but I cannot use more than 1 per turn, and definitely this is going to be a Aero Blitz right here. And with the Aero Blitz, I can search my deck for Omastar Break because I really need it, and for example, another double Chorus energy. Alright, so near perfect start. I can definitely tell you that for the next turn I can have that Omastar Break on my Omastar, which means that I can easily use my Dangerous Tentacle, promote his Glaceon in the active position, hit with 120 with my Aerodactyl, and basically do a lot of problems to him. Okay, so there is a Max Elixir, which means that I can even just retreat my Aerodactyl in the active position after he actually used that Ice Beam. Okay, so he decided to roll with the Ice Beam. Unfortunately, he managed to get Tails, didn't get lucky by fighting a Heads. So there we go with a Omastar Break. And I guess I'm just going to retreat. Use one of my Aerodactyls for 120 without actually playing support a card on this turn, because I'm happy I have very nice hand right here. There's Puzzle of Time, 2 Sycamores, and Lysandre, so I never know if I can find maybe another piece of puzzle. So there's just a Glaceon sitting in the active position without supporter card for my opponent, which means that he's definitely in very, very big trouble. So without option to drop some cards, you're definitely not going to be able to win this matchup. So there's Escape Rope, which means that I can just promote my Talonflame back in the active position. It really doesn't matter as long as I have free retreat on it. So all of my Pokemons actually have free retreat. And there we go with Fossil Excavation Kit. I will put 2 of my Old Ambers back into my hand. And of course this is going to be Restoring Beam for 1 more Aerodactyl, which means that I don't have any more left. And what to do in this case? I guess I can just go with my Sycamore for 7. Really don't need any of these cards. I'm already set up maximum. So I have that Super Rod, but I really don't need it. Also there is a Float Stone for my Omastar Break. And this can mean only one thing, that I can just retreat down to my Aerodactyl, hit with my Jet Draft for 120, and the next turn, if my opponent will not be able to draw a supporter card as the top deck, this is going to be a GG. So very, very explosive start with that Archie. So there is Remoraid, so there is a hope that he might be able somehow to do something. And he can just hit for like 40 with that second bite, actually a 30, because I don't have any damage counter on my Aerodactyl, which means that I'm going to maintenance a few cards from my hand just to see what I can get. Yeah, as you can see, I know that he don't have draw support, but I can try to Lysandre his Remoraid on the bench, just in case he managed somehow to get something. So let's go with another round of the maintenance. Okay, so there is an energy card, and this is going to be a Jet Draft for another 120 damage. Even if he can find energy card, he's not going to be able to do damage with his Glaceon. On the other side, I can just easily knock out Glaceon on my next turn with my Aerodactyl, but if he managed to find Auxiliary, he would have like a Puzzle hand for 5. and this is gonna be devastating on the other hand. So I think this is pretty much GG. As you can see, game 1 ends in a pretty good style for my Fossil deck. And there is one more energy gist, so he can use that Crystal Ray, but unfortunately with the Crystal Ray should not be applied on those fossils, so you can just use your Jet Draft and hit for 120 because they are restored Pokemon, they are not stage evolution Pokemon. So let's move to the game number. Alright, so no basic Pokemon in my hand, which means that I need to reshuffle my hand back and draw 7 cards, so hopefully there's going to be Talonflame. Okay, this hand might not be that bad if there was a Talonflame, to be honest. Oh, yes, I want to mulligan this because I just don't want to throw out 2 of my Aerodactyls in the early game. Especially because I cannot know if I'm gonna be able to find something like a Super Rod later in my deck. So, Energy, Sycamore, Old Amber, well, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, to be honest. Manaphy on the other hand. Okay, so let's just go quickly with that Old Amber to see if we can find that Aerodactyl. Unfortunately, no. That means that I'm going to use my Sycamore for 7. Okay. I'm going to use my Wanderlog just in case of some kind of escape rope or something like that happen. This is going to be maintenance for one of my Omastar breaks. And I think I can even roll with my N in this case because I have Sycamore sitting in my discard pile. Okay, I get back the same card pretty much, so this is going to be another Fossil Excavation Kit for Old Amber, and luckily I managed to hit the Aerodactyl right here. And I'm thinking about playing that piece of puzzle to rearrange the top 3 cards, so I guess I can leave with this next 3 cards. And this is pretty much it. So for the next turn, I know that the next card is going to be Old Amber, which means that I can easily try to search my deck for one more Aerodactyl. Then I can also use my Aeroblitz for the 40, which means that I can also search my deck for any 2 cards. And probably I will try to set up my Omastar, and there we go with the N. So I guess I cannot complain. I mean, I lost one piece of puzzle pretty much without playing another one, but at least I managed to get, as you can see, a fresh hand of 6 new cards, which looks a little bit better, just because I also managed to get the double Chorus energy. So probably I'm going to take a risk by playing the double Chorus energy onto my Aerodactyl on the bench. There is a Regice sitting on the other Ultra Ball, which means that he can easily put it down to the bench, maybe find some Max Elixirs to accelerate his Regice. But the good thing is that without energy on the Manaphy, he's not going to be able to retreat, and unfortunately there is no energy with the Max Elixir, so he just decided to pass his turn. Alright, so let's see what we can find in the prize cards. 2 Trainer's Mails, 1 Aerodactyl, 1 piece of puzzle, and 1 copy of Archie. Okay. Let's go with just Aeroblitz 440, and I'm looking forward to grab pretty much Omastar and Archie to my hand. But with that, I'm not going to be able to get what I need, so I'm thinking about taking another Ultra Ball. Actually will help much more. Alright, so right now, as you can see, I have 2 copies of Ultra Ball sitting in my hand, which means that I can Ultra Ball for my Omastar, then I can again Ultra Ball and throw out that Omastar into my discard pile, and then I can use my Archie to get pretty much 5 new cards. But this is not going to happen because there we go with another round of the V-Seeker 4N, meaning that I'm going to take a fresh hand of the 6 new cards. So hopefully I can find at least Archie in that hand. So there's no sign of the Archie, but there's just another Aerodactyl, but luckily I do have that maintenance. Also Ultra Ball will work, so I can get maybe that Omastar, but it really depends on that Parallel City. I mean, I already have 1 Aerodactyl sitting on my bench, so it's not that I really need to have another one so far. 1 is already in my discard pile, and I need to be very cautious right here. So I'm going definitely to play my Ultra Ball for the Hex Maniac and for that Old Amber in order to grab that Omastar and put it into my hand. And after that I'm going to Maintenance for my Aerodactyl and the Parallel City, so I can get one more card, which is gonna be N. And of course I will just Sycamore for 7. Don't want to take risk again, being pretty much abused from my opponent with that M. So there is another round of the Old Amber, and I luckily managed to get that Aerodactyl on my bench. This is going to be another energy attachment. Right now that I know that there is no chance that I can actually play another Old Amber, I'm just going to Aura Blades for 2 copies of Puzzle of Time. And basically with 2 copies of Puzzle, I'm going to be able next turn to play my Archie for sure. Putting my Omastar on the bench, which is very important. Of course, if my opponent does not play N again. So N is very disruptive against this deck. The best thing you can play against this deck is definitely N. You really want to defend against your opponent trying to get that Omastar on the bench. So as long as you can play N and disrupt your opponent's hand, you can definitely do a great job. But then again, Aerodactyl can go for 120, and if you have EX in the active position again, you can just easily get knocked out. Alright, so there is one energy attachment, which means that with some kind of maybe, let's say, Max Elixir, he's going to be able to retreat, but there is no sign of the Max Elixir, which means that I'm going to Ultra Ball for 2 of my Talonflames, pretty much to take nothing. Then I'm going to use 2 copies of Puzzle of Time at the same time. Of course, I will take one of my Ultra Balls, and I guess I can roll with 1 piece of Puzzle, or no, maybe better with, let me see. It really doesn't matter too much what should I take. I guess I even don't need an energy attachment, so I guess I can grab another Klefki, just because I can play that Klefki. Okay. So this means that I need to Ultra Ball for my Archie, or I can just Ultra Ball whatever for Seeker and Klefki, so I can put him back into my discard pile for nothing, of course. Then I can use my Old Amber for nothing, of course. So that's the good thing, because you can waste your cards for nothing. And finally I managed to get my Archie, which means that I can bring back my Omastar on the bench. And that means that I can take also 5 more cards, and there is very nice Faded Town, which means that I'm going to retreat my Talonflame. And of course I'm looking forward to hit strong my opponent right here with my Jet Draft, which means that I'm going to apply 120 damage pressure on his Manaphy. And for the next turn, even if he decides to retreat, I can just easily use my Dangerous Tentacle, put his Manaphy in the active position, go for the knockout, and pretty much benefit from it. So 2 times M played, and I think also 1 time Sycamore, and he was not able to find enough resources to do anything significantly right here. So this is probably going to be a Crystal Ray for 70 damage, which means that probably I will just retreat. Be smart, retreat your Aerodactyl to your bench. There we go with a Super Rod, but unfortunately, if I play that Super Rod, probably I will just put back, let me see, Energy Klefki and one of my Aerodactyls. And again, I can use my first Restoring Beam to put my Aerodactyl onto my bench. I really love this deck. It really works so good. It's so nice to play with it. And then I can roll with my Trainer's Mail, take a look what I can find. So there is a VS Seeker and a Maintenance, so I'm thinking about grabbing that VS Seeker. Of course, attaching one of my regular energies on my Aerodactyl, and being played my VS Seeker for the Sycamore, so I can get 7 new cards right here before I actually use my Jet Draft for 120 and discard that double Chorus energy attached on my opponent Glaceon. And I also managed to get that very important Float Stone, so in case he's going to be able to Lysandre my Omastar maybe to stall a turn, I can easily retreat because I have that Float Stone attached to it. And right now he have two Pokemons in a knockout zone, so basically one of these two EXs is definitely going to be knocked out next turn. Even that Regis can easily be knocked out by V-Seeker for Lysandre. And I'm just thinking about, well, I should just definitely go by knocking out his Glaceon, so he can basically just have a Manaphy with single energy and a Regis without energies in play. And in my opinion, this is definitely going to be very, very good play up. So let's keep looking what he's going to do. So this is going to be another Crystal Ray for another 70 damage on my Aerodactyl, meaning that two of my Aerodactyls probably going to have with 70 damage on it. He still needs to take 6 prizes. I'm in a much better position and in much better advantage because being able to basically retreat for free and avoid those knockouts from your opponent are definitely good things. So no, Aerodactyl is restored Pokemon, so he can go through that Crystal Ray. Just in case you didn't know that, Crystal Ray is not effective against Aerodactyl, so Jet Draft will do the damage even if you use your Crystal Ray on your Glaceon, because Aerodactyl simply is restored Pokemon, and as you can see, Omastar is evolved Pokemon. So if the Omanite tried to attack, he would be able to attack because he was also restored, but Omastar is not restored anymore, he is basically evolved. So it's time to promote Talonflame in the active position, because it have that free retreat, and I can easily go through retreat back to my Aerodactyl. The good thing is that I also have sitting on my bench Omastar Break ready to Lysandre, Dangerous Tentacle, promote his Glaceon with the damage counters in the active position, which means that this is going to be a knockout. So let's go with a Dangerous Tentacle on his Glaceon, and I'm going to retreat, of course, promote my Aerodactyl without any damage counter, and I will put my Klefki on the bench, and of course I will use ability of that Wonderlock just to have one card less in my deck sitting and ready. And this is going to be another Jet Draft for 120, meaning that his Glaceon is knocked out. He cannot do pretty much anything in this situation. He even didn't heal the damage off. So it's time for that Aerodactyl and piece of puzzle to be bring back into my hand. Since I played 3 copies of puzzle, I'm not going to be able to put any 2 cards from my discard pile back into my hand. Next turn, probably I'm going to Dangerous Tentacle his Manaphy for 2 more prize cards, so he's not going to be able to have free retreat. There we go, with 50 damage, with 30 damage heal off from that Manaphy, which will lead me to, okay, so there's a die ball for auxiliary, of course, so he can have even a Beazle hand right now, and he definitely needs to find a way out to accelerate a few more energies on his bench. As you can see, 2 water energies and 2 double chorus energies has already been discarded, and I can definitely take a look if he can find a Max Elixir for some more energies, and I can just easily be a Seeker for Lysandre and knock out that Pokemon with those energies. So there's another die ball, and he might be even able to get even Sycamore right here, maybe even N. It's really hard to say right now, but I'm definitely looking forward maybe to play N. I played 2 of my V-Seekers, which means that I have 1 more V-Seeker left, and actually my opponent did me a favor right here by playing that N. And as you can see, I managed to find 1 water energy, which is very good, because if something like the Enhanced Hammer happen, I can just retreat and use my Aerodactyl at water energy attachment. Okay, so Max Elixir again for no energy. I'm wondering how many energy he actually played in his deck when he had that problem fighting the energy cards. First, of course, I'm going to use my Dangerous Tentacle to promote his Manaphy in the active position. The second thing I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to play Parallel City. So he's not going to be able to do more than, as you can see, he's not going to be able to do enough damage counters to me. He will just be able to do a 20 damage less. So I'm going to discard my Talonflame in this case. And this is going to be Jet Draft for another 120 damage, which is enough to knock out that Manaphy because he had 170. And I will put 2 of my Trainer's Mail back into my hand. With those Trainer's Mails, in case of the something like an N, I have more options to get more good cards that I will need. So I definitely need to Lysandre his Glaceon and hit him 2 times. So as you can see, there is the Enhanced Hammer, which means that I lost my double Colors Energy attached to my Aerodactyl, 1 Water Energy attached on the Rage Ice. Without Manaphy, he cannot free retreat, which will lead him to a knockout from my Aerodactyl. So I'm definitely looking forward to knock out his Rage Ice, maybe even use my V-Seeker. Okay, so he decided to roll with the V-Seeker 4, and which will put me down to 2 cards. I still have that Special Charge, which means that I can shuffle back my double Colors Energy. But to be honest, I also have so many double Colors Energies left. Totally on my previous turn, I forgot to use my Restoring Beam to put back 1 more Aerodactyl in play, but I wouldn't even be able to do that because I have that Parallel City, and I'm locked down to 3 cards. So if he can find Dive Ball, then he's gonna be able to retreat. So there is a Ultra Ball, which means that he can bring back his Manaphy back on the bench. And if he do that, he can probably just retreat his Rage Ice in the active position without energy card. And in that case, I can go with my Jet Draft, hit for 120, knock out that Rage Ice, or I can just easily use my Dangerous Tentacle and knock out his Manaphy. I just realized that he bring back that Manaphy back in play, which means that without Fighting Fury Belt, this is going to be a knockout. So he really need to find that Fighting Fury Belt. And oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. He attached Fighting Fury Belt on the active Rage Ice, which will definitely means that without another Fighting Fury Belt, this is definitely going to be a GG. You need to attach definitely your Fighting Fury Belt on your Manaphy on the bench without too many thinking, because Manaphy is 120 HP Pokemon. Omastar have Float Stone attached to it. Both auxiliaries, both Aerodactyls have free retreat, and you definitely need to have some cover for your Manaphy. And as you can see, this is pretty much Dangerous Tentacle on his Manaphy. I'm going to retreat onto my Aerodactyl, and I'm going to hit with my Jet Draft for 120, which will be enough for the knockout. And that's pretty much it, guys. As you can see, Fossils works pretty perfect because they're tweaked to be near perfect build. So once again, there's a full deck list. If you're looking to build something like that, you should definitely try. If you want to increase the chance to get that Archie in play, you can always add 2 more Ultra Balls and cut any of these cards to have 2 more Ultra Balls, but I think this is a near perfect build for this. So if somebody already played something like this, they should definitely tell me opinion about it. So once again, guys, hope you enjoy watching this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you already didn't. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave comments below. Till the next time, have a nice day wherever you are, and see you in the next video. So